Hey everyone, and welcome to Listeners Beware, a podcast about all things Goosebumps. My name is Gary.
And I'm Ashley.
And today's episode is...
Say cheese and die. Or I guess there's an exclamation mark. So is it say cheese and die? I'm not sure. But if we're going grammatically with the punctuation.
That is true, yeah. Scholastic could have had a print error and it could have been say cheese and die, with the question mark.
Say cheese and die. Say cheese and die. Yes. I don't know. There's so many ways you could go here.
I like the way you do
it. Thank you. Interestingly enough, if you look at the TV episode, they actually dropped the exclamation mark. So there's really not as much confusion. It's just say cheese and die. Oh. But with the exclamation, I kind of like it, right? It's got a little bit of attitude, a little bit of excitement. Are we happy to die? Are we scared to die? I don't know.
Yes. It's a little bit of a pizzazz.
A little pizzazz on it. So here we are.
Yes.
Fourth book.
And the description is, every picture tells a story. Greg thinks there is something wrong with the old camera that he and his friends found. The photographs keep turning out wrong. Very wrong. Like the snapshot Greg took of his father's new car that shows it totaled, and then Greg's father is in a nasty wreck. But Greg's friends don't believe him. Sherry even makes Greg bring the camera to her birthday party and take her picture. Only Sherry's not in the photograph when it develops. Is Sherry about to be taken out of the picture permanently? Who is going to take the next fall for ... the evil camera?
The evil camera?
Well, it ends with a question mark. I thought we were doing punctuation things.
I mean, I like it. I'm here for it. Today, you are hearing an episode of Grammatical Goosebumps. Grammar and Goosebumps. Ooh, I've got chills.
I got them too.
I've heard they're multiplying. Is that math in Goosebumps? I don't know.
Yeah, chills can add, they can subtract, they can multiply, but they can't divide.
Oh, man.
Anyways.
So, with that said, we're still in 1992.
Yes.
So still in the 90s,
yep.
Which apparently our humor is still there as well, which I'm here for. I love the 90s. I'm all about the 90s.
Yeah.
So, in this book, our protagonist is Greg. Still the same, age range. I believe, is he 12?
I believe so.
I believe he was 12, if I recall correctly. So, we're still in the same age range-ish of kids. But now, they're getting into a little bit more grown activity, a little bit of breaking and entering.
Oh, yeah.
We all have to do it at some point in our lives. Greg started young. Greg, Sherry, Doug, and Michael.
That's right. What a motley crew.
Right? They're all bored in the town of Pitt's Landing.
Which is weirdly similar to... that's one of my favorite things about books is the names of the towns that they come up with.
All I can think of, because I'm a total nerd, is the daytime soap opera Knots Landing.
Yeah.
I'm what is that next door? Are we neighbors? What is this?
Could be.
Got doctors and ghosts.
Excuse me, I wound up in the wrong landing.
Could you send me back to my proper one? So, little breaking and entering into the Kaufman house.
Yes.
Which, to me, that, at least for me, I'm assuming this was intentional, that they make it sound like Kaufman.
Oh, yeah. That's entirely possible. I hadn't thought about that.
Here we are in this old, dilapidated building, the Coffin House. Just kidding, Kaufman. Home to the strange squatter named Spidey. Spidey in his coffin.
Yeah, and so they're inside the house, and what should they find but a camera?
And they have to go some to find the camera.
Yeah.
It's not just sitting out. It's ooh, what's this? Hidden shelf thing? Hidden door? Yay.
This is not as easy to come by as Monster Blood, apparently.
They learned. The creepy old men who have jinxed cursed things learned a little. I mean, we're going to talk about it later, why these things are still in existence. But, for now, they had to work for it to get the camera. They find the camera and say cheese.
And so
and fall.
As I believe that's our first adventure with the camera. I forget which kid it is, but one of them is standing on the stairs. Greg takes his photograph, and he's falling in the photograph, only for it to happen shortly thereafter in real time.
Oh my gosh. Michael's falling.
Michael falls, yes.
Yes. Michael was not eating worms. He fell off the stairs this time. Sorry, Lost Boys reference. So, there were only noodles, Michael. But this Michael fell off the stairs and hurt himself. Ouch.
Yep. This is Michael Warner.
Yeah,
I only know because it's right here in front of me. So, what happened? So, does Spidey then show up and chases them out of the house, or do they just decide we need to get out of here? It's late in the day. I can't.
Spidey chases him.
He
comes in and he comes up from the top of the stairs. So if you recall, they actually had to go out the window.
That's right. Yes.
To get out. So they all make it out the window, and lo and behold, Greg was so caught up in the don't get caught by spooky Spidey that he took the camera with him.
He's got it.
Now my question is, if you're a kid and you accidentally take something that wasn't yours, wouldn't you just leave it? Oops, I don't want to go back in because he's in there, but they stopped and hid behind, for a little while. So why not just put the camera down and leave? Because not only did we do breaking and entering, but now we're stealing. So burglary, breaking in and burglary.
Although, I don't really know where that falls, because if the consensus is that this is Spidey's camera, Spidey doesn't own the house. He doesn't live there. He's a squatter too. So he's also breaking the law. So,
but it's still his property.
Is it?
Yeah, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
But 3 lefts do.
For sure. So, I don't know. I was just they brought it on themselves. Not only do they break in, they break in multiple ways. They break into the house, but they also break into the section where the camera's hidden, and then they steal the camera and continue to take it.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting choices. But again, their age range, we were kids at one point and we did not the smartest things.
Yeah.
Heck, I'm an adult and I still don't do smart things. So, okay, we roll with it.
Yeah, why not?
They took the camera. He had noticed the odd picture of Michael. So then what happens?
So then, essentially they go back to, or they part ways. All the kids go to their separate houses, and Greg goes home, sees a brand new station wagon sitting in the driveway.
Fancy schmancy.
And this was where I knew Greg was a lunatic, because he got really excited about a station wagon. If it were a Ferrari or I don't know, even a Buick, I would forgive it. But station wagon?
It's a brand new car. He's it's gleaming. It's new. Ooh, which makes you wonder what the original car looked like for him to be excited about a, brand new station wagon.
It's true. It's that wood paneling gets you every time.
And he takes a picture of the car.
He does.
And lo and behold, you hear the camera. And what's funny? I love that they actually use words to describe the sounds of the camera processing the pictures.
Right.
Because anybody that's ever used a traditional Polaroid, that sound.
You do.
And it's just what's about to develop.
It's whenever I'm feeling nostalgic, I'll just go listen to sound effects of VCRs doing things. It's there's something about that at this point ancient technology that just is so satisfyingly sonic.
Something tells me you are not making that up.
Why would what? No, yeah, probably.
You actually listen to VCRs. I loved the sound of the VCR rewinding and forwarding when I was a kid. And there might be someone listening to this that's what's a VCR? And if that's the case, you should probably hit pause and just leave the podcast, go to YouTube, you'll get lost in the whole, rabbit hole of the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
But
Do come back, though.
I just, yeah, come back. I said pause. I didn't say hit stop. Just pause.
You're still
come
welcome
back.
here.
Yeah, everybody's welcome.
Yeah, so I mean, full disclosure, I had to find sound effects one day, and I was listening to it, and I was like, wow, this is nice. This is like white noise for Gary.
I like that. I'm going to burn you a CD. Ooh, you like that reference?
Oh, I love
90s
it.
reference. Or late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm going to burn you a CD of those sound effects. Just for you.
Sound effects mixtape?
Mixtape for Gary. Okay, so he sees the car is wrecked in the developed photo, and he's like, oh, gasp, how is that a thing?
Right.
And,
And
goes from there.
He checks multiple times. Like I just picture him standing there, like holding the photo in front of him, pulling it down, and
back and forth,
right,
shaking it hard a few times, making sure, like, did it develop right?
Goes upstairs, looks down from his bedroom window. Wait, car's still fine. What's happening?
Still good. I don't understand. What I like is, once again, as we've discussed in all of the Goosebump books, 4 total so far.
Yeah.
But I feel is going to be a reoccurring theme is these children do not reach out to anybody. Instead, he does what? He hides the photo.
Yep. And a bedpost kind of thingy, which is super fun. I had one of those once, a bed that had a liftable bedpost. So that gave me the nostalgic vibes for sure. The thing that gets me that's been a through line, and I think will continue to be a through line, is how well RL writes for kids. We've talked about it before. I think this is no exception to that rule, because he processes things, Greg processes things in the same way that I probably would have, except I would have, never gone into the house. Well, no, I would have. I would have done that. But I would have not. Oh my
gosh, I would not have.
I wouldn't have taken the camera, though. I'm a lot of things, but I'm no thief.
I mean, I'm with you. You read this book, and even reading it as an adult who's in her early 20s. No, I'm just kidding.
You're talking about me?
Yeah. As an adult, I read this, and it translates. As an adult, I still can read it and feel what it was like to be that age again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's very relatable, and he does it in a way that reminds you how you used to think and behave at that age.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, the conversation at the dinner table felt so authentic, awkward,
yeah.
weird. Like, he spent a lot of time telling this dinner table story when it was sort of unnecessary, but I think it was, rewarding in its own way.
I mean, it reminds you of how mundane those things are when you are a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he draws it out for a reason, because it's like, oh my gosh, that is how dinner felt as a kid. Like, oh,
yeah,
why are we doing this? I have other things to do. I am, life is so much more important, and I have other things, whether it's, a killer camera or I want to go watch my favorite TV show. I don't know.
Right. And Greg knows he did a bad thing. And you can tell that he's got a lot on his mind. I remember those awkward dinner conversations where everyone's just talking, and I've got so much on my mind, and I'm like, I don't want to go. I just want to do it. Just want to go to my room. You're gonna make me drive in the new haunted ghost car? I don't want to do that.
How dare you? You awful, awful people.
You're not my real dad.
Maybe that's true, but that's not Knox Landing. That's not Pitt's Landing.
Right.
So I do notice it's a theme. And, as we're rereading these, I'm curious if I'm going to keep picking up on this, but I do notice that RL has the protagonist with these complex emotions. But do you notice that the secondary character is always super bossy and obnoxious?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what, like, gender they are or who they are. It could be sibling, it could be friend. They're always so obnoxiously, like, bossy.
Yep.
Like Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
Sherry in this, she's just like, well, it's our camera, so hand it over, take the picture. And I'm like, I'm sorry, honey, it's not your camera either. Y'all stole this. It's, creepy Spidey's camera,
right.
Not yours. But yeah, I do notice that, like, it's always the protagonist that has these layers of emotions, and then it's always the secondary character that is just like, "Why are you an ass?" Sorry. Do all of our protagonists have bad choices in Friends? I don't know. Or is that how it was? Were we all obnoxious?
I think so. I was a much different person back then. I'm not going to say I was bossy, but I was definitely obnoxious. So maybe I'm that character. Maybe RL's writing about me.
Is also bullies are also the reoccurring theme.
That's true. We've seen,
and it's not just one; it's always two.
Yep. It's starting to feel personal, RL.
How dare you, RL?
Yeah, you're starting. I'm starting to feel like you're like working through things through your books.
Get out of my head. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It is interesting. At least, you know, in the other books, we have typically just the two protagonists, or at least two, like one main, one secondary character. But in this one, we have a group. We have a group of kids. Like, we got little Goonies thing going on.
Yeah.
They found their treasure. It just happens to be a little evil, causing mayhem.
Yep.
But, you know, we've got a little group for me, which I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So through a series of unfortunate photographs, we keep seeing the camera predict the future. Let's. Do you just want to run through them, or do you want to carry on the narrative?
So we have Terry in the photo looking concerned, not smiling.
Correct.
We have the baseball photos.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, the baseball photo of, is it Doug? Doug playing baseball and like showing him. Can we focus on that one for just a moment? Because the way they describe the photo sounds like Doug broke his neck.
Yes, right? That's what
And
I was
I'm like, oh my God, he's dead. And
Doug's dead.
I mean, they kept saying his neck is at an unnatural angle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to kill a kid? Goosebumps, how dare you?
But go on.
Right? Like, what is this? And they still don't quite like cover that, you know, that I love that he pranks them because he sees Greg is so worried, and that like any of us would do, we prank our friends. So he lays down there with his neck all bent awkwardly and pretending like he got hurt, and then laughs at him. But, you know, of course, as it goes, it actually happens. And so his joke isn't as funny anymore.
Not for him anyways.
But he's not dead.
No,
he's hurt.
He'll be all right. Walk it off, Greg.
So I'm still,
or Doug.
right, Doug. So I'm still trying to figure out why RL chose to describe it that way, because Doug clearly did not break his neck. He got hurt,
Yeah,
but he didn't break his neck.
No, it was definitely like, I kind of paused too when I was reading that part. I'm like, hold on, is Doug gonna die?
Yeah. Like, how do you play that one off? Like, it's an unnatural angle as you broke your neck, man.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, oh, he got hurt, but he's up, and he's hurt, but he's going to be okay. It's just like he literally walked it off, and it's like, what? You can't walk off a broken neck. I don't think you can, unless you're Doug in Pitt's Landing.
Doug's miraculous, man.
You can walk off a broken neck. I do like that Spidey chases Greg and Sherry,
Mm-hmm.
and you have like that random neighbor like pull off all skirt and interrupt, like, is this guy bothering you? And part of me is like, what I'm living for, like, I'm hoping RL's gonna have this guy come out of his car with like a random bat. You know, 90s style. And just like, hey, is this guy bothering you, kids? I don't know.
Doesn't look like he needs his kneecaps anymore. Yeah.
It just felt so random that he like swerved all hard and like jumped. Is he bothering you?
And this is the first time since the first book where like an adult has actually been proactive and helpful in these books.
Other than the first one.
Yeah.
When I can't remember his name at the moment, the real estate agent stops the kids from completely encircling them. Remember, he drives up all super fast too.
Yeah.
And he's like, everything all right, kids? So very similar, like, adult intervening behavior. But I'm wondering where RL's like, you know, they come out of nowhere like a bat out of hell, tire screeching. I don't know.
You're good at that.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
I should be a voice actor. No, I'm kidding.
You should.
That's the
Um,
only voice sound effect I could do. Now, you know what I love? Most of these, it's going to sound weird because this is like a magic camera doing this. Most of these are predictions of very real things.
right.
The car getting into a car accident with the dad in the car, Doug getting hurt at baseball, so unnatural neck but not broken,
Yes.
and Michael falling and so forth. But there was one that the camera predicted that was completely supernatural,
Hmm.
that there was no actual real explanation in terms of like the camera just predicted something that happened in real life, which was obnoxious, bossy Sherry.
Yep. Yeah. So he takes he's essentially forced to, because at this point Greg's getting pretty smart, and like, maybe if I stop taking pictures, bad things will stop happening.
Right, as one would assume.
Yeah, you would think. And then I don't remember exactly how it comes to be, but Sherry's photo is taken, and she's gone. She's invisible in the photograph.
She makes him.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you take it, or I'm going to take it myself, or I'm going to have someone else take it of me. And he gives in.
Sherry would have taken
Because
the first selfie.
right, the first selfie. Well, she bullies him into bringing the camera to the party because you remember he didn't want to bring it.
Yeah.
And then she really pushes him into taking her photo at the tree, and he took a few.
Yeah, he did.
So he's like really solidifying what's going to happen to her.
I'll show you.
I'll show you. And lo and behold, Sherry disappears. They're all out in the woods looking for Sherry, and they can't find Sherry.
Nope. And this part is where, honestly, the book might have lost me a little bit. It's a neat plot device, but it's also a complete change in what I knew the camera's properties to be.
Yeah, because it's supposed to predict what is going to happen like in real world.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, it's just like, where did she go?
Yeah.
She disappears. And it's not like, okay, she got kidnapped or okay, she got lost. It's she disappeared. She literally just like poof.
Right.
In thin air. And when she finally comes back, he even asks her, where were you? And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like I was just there and then I wasn't. And now I'm back.
She was stuck in that invisible monster blood purgatory.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And, he figures out how to undo the premonitions, the foreshadowing of the camera, which is to tear the photo. Because that's how he brought Sherry back.
Mm-hmm.
So she was gone. I think they implied that she was gone. What? Like, was it a day? Because she was gone overnight too, right?
So yeah, she was definitely gone for a day. I mean, long enough for the police to start looking for her.
Yeah, I want to say she was gone for a day, and then the next day he's sitting there talking about it, and like, I need to return the camera, and his friend's like, dude, you're on your own. See ya.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he was thinking about that, and it's something along the lines of I don't remember what inspired him to tear it, but he tore it, and suddenly she's back. It's just like, what?
Yeah. It's definitely confusing. I'm still not sure that I like it, but it's a fun element. I just don't know if it's in this story.
Yeah. Because I want to say, yeah, it took a supernatural twist, but the idea of a cursed camera predicting the future is already supernatural. So
True.
I guess it just felt even more supernatural because you have a supernatural device that is predicting real world things, versus it's causing. But I guess it is causing the events. But when it's causing the events, it's causing them in real world ways. So
Right.
like a car accident or a baseball accident or being chased by, spooky Spidey. It's all things that it may be cursed to cause, but it's causing it in the real world. For her to just up and like, poof, we disappeared. That didn't fall in line. It would make more sense if it's like, oh, she's gone. Spidey kidnapped her or whatever. She got lost. But the fact that it's just like, She
Yeah.
disappeared
Yeah,
into
that's the
the
thing.
who knows where.
Into the unknown.
All
I,
right, Elsa.
it's weird because I agree with you. Like I would have rather have had some sort of explanation of Spidey took her, or darker still, but she got abducted or something, that,
Yeah,
and then she gets returned, because then that still feels authentic to what the camera's done previously, as opposed to just like making her completely vanish into thin air.
correct.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but I guess we have nothing to do but get past it. So,
I guess that was the only way, though, too, that they could show this is the only way around the camera
yeah,
is by tearing the photo, because then she could automatically reappear. And I don't know, though, because for me, were those things going to happen anyway? And the camera's just showing you this is what's going to happen. And so we're like, yeah, it's just predicting, or it's just showing you what is going to happen, versus with her, it caused it to happen.
yeah,
Although when we talk to Spidey at the end,
hmm,
he reveals the camera causes it.
right,
So then it's like you cause these all to be real world things, to be like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it, because like that's a car accident. How can a camera cause a car accident?
yeah,
But her disappearing is like, no, you caused that, man, because that just doesn't happen.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so I don't know. Yeah,
I'm with you. It felt a little out left field.
yeah. Like I was ready for supernatural. I wasn't ready for supernatural.
Ooh, supernatural and steroids. So then, we've got Sherry and Greg, because Sherry's back, returning the camera because, the friend's like, I'm not going to help you.
Mhm.
They're returning the camera, and lo and behold, guess who corners them?
Could it be Spidey?
AKA Dr. Fritz Fredericks. That's quite a name for a deranged scientist.
Yeah. And how did he get from Germany to Pitt's Landing?
I guess insanity will do that to you. I don't know.
Hot take.
He took the wrong turn. He was trying to go to Knox,
Yeah.
get the hot chick, ended up in Pitts. Yeah, whatever.
Knew I should have took a left turn at Albuquerque.
I'm just saying, it's fun. He comes up with fun stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm still curious if a Knots Landing is next door, but
Always and
um,
forever.
maybe Spidey goes back and forth. So he lost everything, right? He
Right.
stole his lab partner's camera, which is hilarious because I feel like they have to go even further. Kind of like you said, it's not just supernatural. It's got to go super supernatural. So his lab partner creates this camera that can show the future. Okay, that's already bananas. And then he's like, but lo and behold, my partner also was a master of the dark arts and cursed the camera. It's like, what?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
So Severus Snape there created a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are.
This gets real twisty, and it's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. I mean, it's so twisty, it's comical.
Mm.
And you hear about I lost everything and now I have to, keep the camera from getting anybody else, but it's too late. You know the truth, so no, I have to get rid of you. Like, what?
Bro, that's not the only solution.
You're gonna protect the world, but you're gonna kill some kids. Like,
Mhm.
I don't understand the logic here. Again, he's insane. He ended up he chose Pitt's Landing, so enough said. So he's trying to hide it. And yet, obviously, if he's such a smart scientist to help create a camera like this, how the hell did he do such a bad job of hiding this camera?
Hide it in plain sight,
Apparently. Like, dude, bro could have buried it. He could have, tried to melt it in acid. He could have, because that's always, the answer to everything, melted in acid.
Sure.
He could have done so many other things. to hide this camera, and he's just like, we're gonna hide it in this cabinet of this old house that of course kids in this little bored ass town are gonna try and get into. You're feeling fully nobody. You wanted that camera found.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So getting rid of Spidey is rather comical too, I feel like.
Here's where we go even darker, because this is the first time I think the kids have actually like
Killed someone?
killed a live person, because the unalive people in Dead House don't count.
True.
They were already unalive, so
You're going to get
Living
a lot of angry letters from zombies.
right? I know, I'm so awful. They're like, zombies are people too. So
Zombies were people too.
So yeah, like this is the first time where we have our protagonist, who by the way is a child, kill somebody.
And how does he kill him?
Taking his picture. And actually Sherry does it, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Say cheese and die. And Spidey screams, no!
Presumably dies of fright, which is a weird way to go, but
I'm assuming heart attack because of the fright, and the picture shows it. But again, remember, the camera causes the actions. It's
Right.
cursed and causes it. So technically, them taking his picture, the camera caused the death, and because Sherry took it, she killed him.
Right. Murderer.
Murderer. So not only do we have break-in and entry and burglary, we also have murder.
Right. Not to mention faking your own abduction.
Yeah, that
Is that a crime?
Yeah, I mean, she made him take her picture, so in reality, she caused her own disappearance. So,
Sherry's going to jail. She's going to juvie.
She's going to juvie.
I'd ship her there.
I'd try her as an adult in Pitt's Landing. And again, where are all the parents? These kids are out and about late at night. Like, you don't know your kids left the house?
Right. They're at one of those 3 a.m. late night grab ass parties from the first book.
The swinger parties. Who has their keys? So, I don't know. I like Say Cheese and Die. It's fun. It's so over the top. Some of the things definitely veer left when you're like, I don't think that was necessary.
Right.
But the fact that like you have this epic ending where it's just like takes his picture and he's dead. It's like, oh damn.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you were gonna go there.
You done did.
You done did it, and he died. So, you know, of course, they can't leave it at that, right? It has to end on an even darker note, which is the curse is going to continue because two bullies, Joey and Mickey. Hey, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Go into the house and take the camera.
Right.
Because, of course, these kids leave the camera there.
Yep. Like a bunch of amateurs.
But what's funny is they take their own photo.
Right.
And it's like, what's going to develop? You hear the whirring sound and then end scene.
RL, you crazy son of a gun.
RL, you play with my emotions and I love it. So overall, for me, the book is it's hilarious. I do like the way it's written. I do love that we are given a lot of Greg's conflict with the camera. Like, he's not just going around willy-nilly wanting to take pictures of people. Really, he shouldn't have the camera with him. He needs to grow a backbone. Sorry, Greg, but grow a backbone.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Grow the backbone. But here we are. He knows it's wrong. He's feeling like he shouldn't do it, and he doesn't listen to his instincts. So kids everywhere, listen to your instinct.
Yes. Listen to Ashley. She knows what's going on.
I do. Now, with that said, TV episode, because there is a corresponding episode to this.
Yeah. Wow.
Here we are. Corresponding television episode, Say Cheese and Die, no exclamation mark.
Nope. Just plain Say Cheese and Die.
And we have in this wonderful TV episode the lovely, young, talented Ryan. No, not Ryan Deadpool Reynolds,
Nope.
but Ryan Ken Gosling.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
It is. It's fun to see them that young
Right.
and that early into their career. But holy moly, can we talk about how even then he was already established as being a pretty solid, strong actor?
Yeah, he was. He did a good job. I mean, this is oh boy, I need a whole salt shaker for this statement, but this is one of the better ones in terms of acting, right? Like, well, okay, hold on. There are some offenders in terms of acting, but like, I think for the most part, the kids do a decent job, and it is fun seeing Ryan knowing what he would eventually become. And side note, he was also in Are You Afraid of the Dark? So he was really cranking out those kids horror shows.
He was the poster boy. I mean, even then, he was adorable.
Mm.
I don't know. I think he was super strong. To your point, not everybody in the episode was, but he was very solid at what he was given.
Right.
And to be candid, what he was given to work with wasn't bad.
Right.
I don't mind. I get it. I get that the episodes can't be long. It's not full-length movie, so you can't really put this entire book into an episode, and you really have to pick and choose what you're going to show.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind what they chose to show.
I agree. This was condensed relatively well, but some of the changes had me kind of scratching my head like, why did we do this? I think the biggest offender is the look of the camera, because in the book I just pictured it being like a traditional camera, right? Like it would be incognito with so people would just see it and not assume that it's this magical thing. But this is like some future tech space age BS camera that when they saw it, they were like, "Oh, look, it's a camera." I'm like, "How did you get that?"
Why did it look like some kind of like extraterrestrial helmet?
It did. Yeah.
I was waiting for someone to put it on their head. Like it did not look like a camera from this earth.
Right. And turns out it kind of is, but not really.
I mean, it's supposed to be a camera
Mhm.
with, created by the master of the dark arts.
Right.
So really, that didn't look like a magical camera. That looked like an alien camera.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of stupid. When I saw it, I was like, this can't be real. This can't be what they're going with. And also the change of the house setting to a factory was kind of strange.
It was no longer Kaufman House. It was a big factory.
Kaufman Factory.
Kaufman Factory. It would, and honestly, like kids breaking into a factory versus kids breaking into a neighborhood, local, scary home,
Mm-hmm.
it makes more sense to me that they're
Yeah.
going to be like, ooh, little rundown home in the middle of town versus we're going to ride our bikes all the way outside of town to this old factory.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I were a kid, I would not have broken into a factory. I might have broken into an old house, but not a factory. So I don't know. it kind of lost me. And then the fact that this seems like a still floor, like this thing seems like it was built on a slab and there's a basement. Like,
yeah,
with with wooden stairs. No, that's not going to be a thing.
I did like that they included the Goosebumps green in the factory.
Yeah.
Like the lighting. I
Yeah.
like that they do that. It's a very beautiful nod to Goosebumps, that classic green. And that I didn't mind them using that lighting kind of like they did with the, stay out of the basement. And it just like, I don't mind that they use that lighting. I like that. It can come across cheesy, I'm sure. But to me, I think it's effective because it's our classic Goosebumps green.
Right. Right. Yeah. I thought, boy, the camera angles in this and stuff, I was like, I looked over at my wife because she watched this one with me, and I need to apologize to her for that. But I looked over at her and I was like, this looks like it was filmed by a music video director. Like a lot of the angles, like the way the camera twists and stuff, it felt like a music video from the early 90s.
Yeah, I think, if we're talking cinematography, especially in the 90s, well, even now, people try to come up with unique creative angles to kind of translate to what the character's feeling.
Hmm.
And I imagine all of the movement and motion and some of the angle choices, they were just trying to get us to feel the confusion
Yeah.
that Greg was feeling, but it still was a little over the top, like you said, like a music video.
Yeah, yeah. Like someone like I'll just say Shyamalan can handle that sort of thing with a little more tact, even though he's a little tacky too. But it's shots fired. No, I'm a Shyamalan apologist. I can say it. So
Apologist.
I like everything he does, even when it's not great. So, and if he ghost directed this episode, that'd be dope too. But I like, I feel like this episode is the most competently made of all the ones we've seen so far.
Yeah, but I think that a lot has to go hand in hand with our lead actor
Yeah, that's true.
carrying that, because I mean the dude had to carry around an alien helmet and pretend to take photos with it and sell it
Yeah.
like that this is a scary camera predicting the future and causing all these things. And yeah, he did it. I couldn't, it was so hard to take him seriously when he's holding this thing that's the size of, like, I don't even know, like a small dog.
Yeah, I mean,
And
yeah.
so
It was 4 times the size. No, it was probably closer to 8 times the size of a regular camera, which is craziness.
yeah, it was huge. It was not like a Polaroid instant camera.
No.
It didn't even look like a camera.
No. And that's why I
So
was like, what world are they on whenever the kids see it and their immediate assumption is it's a camera? I would be like,
take a picture.
yeah, take my picture.
The way they described it in the book was very much like a Polaroid.
Yeah.
And so for this one to be like an alien helmet, it's just like, I don't think so. But unless RL is from a different planet we don't know about. And that's what they look like on his planet.
Planet Stine.
Planet Stine. Watch the, Men in Black are going to show up soon. Busted.
Don't neuralize me, bro.
Neuralize me. So, out of all the things with this episode, I thought Dr. Fritz was poorly done. They did that guy so wrong with that like the wig. You couldn't give the bro like just spray his hair silver or whatever. That wig was awful. And those like fly glasses that he wore, I was just like, what do you, if they went more alien with it than they did. Like I thought they were going to switch it up and be like, Dr. Fritz is actually from Planet XY2436 and here's his alien camera.
Yeah, I mean that would have been more believable than what they ultimately went with, which was, I mean, relatively true to the story, or true to the book, but it was not nearly as satisfying or gratifying as the book was.
For sure.
It went full on Looney Tunes, and that's just because the actor didn't know how to convey emotion without coming off over the top, in my opinion.
I think that's how they directed him, though.
Yeah.
I mean, given how they dressed him,
True.
Which was basically like a caricature of deranged scientists, like mad scientists.
Yeah.
I have to feel that that's how they directed him to act. Because how could you play that off as like anything other than that based on how they dressed him? And I don't know. It did not land.
Right.
Wherever the source came from, it did not land. And they changed the ending.
Yeah, they did. Disappointing.
I wonder if it's like some of our other books we've discussed where they can't have the original ending on film because maybe it's, geared towards Nickelodeon or whatever, where they were premiering where you couldn't show kids doing that. But like, he didn't die.
No, he did not. It was definitely a strange move. I did not like it, but I guess I understand where it's coming from. If I'm being generous.
Yeah, to me, it also kind of changes what happened to Sherry. Because if by taking his photo, he ended up inside the camera, then it kind of tells you that's where Sherry went when her photo was taken.
That's true.
And she disappeared.
Yeah, they're filling in plot holes that we didn't really need filled in. Or did we? Yeah. I don't know. I'm still divided on that too.
I didn't need it in that way Because then every person that their picture was taken would be sucked up in the camera. Why just Sherry and Dr. Fritz? Why not Michael and Doug and Terry? They all got their photos taken.
Right. Well, I think with Dr. Fritz, the assumption is that because he created it, he was essentially destroyed by his own creation.
Which would be fine, Frankenstein style.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't know, just the way they handled it was so cheesy. Like they could have taken the photo and he would have gone into the, like, just disappeared, and I would have been more satisfied than the stupid image of him going, "No, let me out."
And then he got let out right away.
Yeah.
You know, they take a picture and then he comes out and he's behind them and he's like, maniacal laugh.
So stupid.
Yeah. I would have preferred the plot hole, like you said, not filled.
Right.
Like, I don't need to know where Sherry went. It's actually kind of scarier not knowing where she went. Like, where did the camera send her?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I think we see all of the, I don't know if we see the older brother's look of fear, but I think we see all of the other camera things happen in the episode that we did in the book. So, like, I think they did a pretty good job of condensing things. Obviously, they had to tone down the dad's car accident, cause in the hospital after the commercial break, he's like, "Oh, it's just a scratch," you know. And
it's just a scratch.
Meanwhile, in R.L. Stine's book, it's like he's hooked to every machine possible. He's got an iron lung to keep him breathing, you know, and it's
that might have just been budget.
Maybe.
we couldn't get an iron lung. Yeah. And also I think about, we don't see Sherry's birthday party. It's
that's
just right. He takes a picture of her
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, she's gone.
Right. And at what point did the brother become such a doofus? Like, the brother just kind of existed in the book, but in the TV show, he's like kind of a doofus dick.
Hashtag doofus dick. I'm here for it. All right. So doofus dick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he was present in the book as a safe character almost.
Yeah.
I mean, to an extent, because he's there asking, like, what's wrong. He's, you know, I want to see my photo. He's interacting with him. He goes to tell him dad's hurt. I think he's present. I think it's because it's viewed through the lens of Greg.
Mm-hmm.
We very much in the book are just seeing how we view our sibling.
Right.
Which is like, especially being an older sibling, like, go away.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas doofus dick in the TV show, like, you know, I don't know, they were trying to show an older sibling in the other way we see siblings. You're either like, I want to be around you, I like you, or get the fuck away, you're annoying me.
Right.
I don't know.
Well,
oh, I'm sorry, I said a potty word.
Yeah.
Go away, you're annoying me.
I'm not sure if doofus dick is appropriate either, but we'll.
Yeah, you might as well leave doofus dick. That's a harmless word.
I can bleep it. Beep dick. All right.
Beep dick. Yeah, doofus dick and beep dick. Oh my gosh.
Oh. I think that's like the majority of my thoughts on this episode. It's better than most that we've seen.
Yeah, out of all the ones that we've seen so far, I think this one did the best job pulling from the book and trying to, like, condense it down and still keep as much as possible from the book. Yes, they changed the ending. I think that might have to do more with being kid-friendly on TV, not killing people,
right.
Even inadvertently. And yeah, I think they tried to have fun with it, still make it over the top so kids weren't too scared from television. And as far as the book goes, was it my favorite? No. But do I enjoy it? Sure.
Yeah.
It's fun. I think that's just given how Greg was written. And I think Greg was written well.
I agree. And it's just such a fun concept that even whenever it kind of plateaus, it's still, you know, entertaining in its approach. Real quick with the episode, let's talk about those police officers. They were way too aggressive. Like, we know you know where they are or where she is, boy. Like, my wife was silent for most of the episode, but whenever the cops started harassing Greg for information, she just looked up at the TV and yelled, "Entrapment!"
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cops are super aggressive and super like interrogating. But I wonder if they were doing that because it was through the lens of a kid.
Yeah.
And kids always see like any authority figure, like if a security guard or a cop or anyone's like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Kids see it as, "What did you do?" So I kind of wonder if it was exaggerated that way because that is when kids interact with someone of authority, kind of questioning them, even if there's slight guilt being felt, that feels so much more intense.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. That just kind of cracked me up in the weirdest sort of way.
Entrapment! Damn right. Don't tell them anything. Don't show them your picture.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
That picture ain't their business.
They'll rip it up and solve the problem.
Yeah, the cops were so aggressive. That scene was hilarious.
Versus the book where they were sympathetic and like compassionate towards him for his loss of let's be honest, not very nice friend.
I feel like that's going to be a theme that we are going to see. Not the loss of very nice friends or not very nice friends, but the theme that the TV show is going to over exaggerate what we read in the books because that was the 90s vibe. Right. Everything had to be bright, neon, and over exaggerated.
It's true.
Whereas the books were more subtle because you do have the ability to build the world a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like trying to go for shock factor because you only have 20 minutes versus you have an entire book to really create this world and dive into.
Yeah, I think that's a very good assessment, and we'll see what happens going forward.
I love that people give ratings to the books. I think it was the Goosebumps Horrorland. When they did the reprints, they had splat stats. And so for Say Cheese and Die, that was part of the reprint for the Goosebumps Horrorland book releases.
Right.
And it was a tie-in to Say Cheese and Die Screaming. And the splat stats that it got was 8 out of 10 in strength, 3 out of 10 in intelligence, 2 out of 10 in speed. I don't know how they're factoring speed for a book. Like, drugs are bad, kids.
Yeah, don't do that.
7 out of 10 attack skills. 1 out of 10 humor. Apparently it did not get much humor. And 10 out of 10 evil.
This is like finding out that the Monster Bloods affiliation is evil. There's a lot to unpack here.
So, yeah, if you're ever curious about splat stats, look up Goosebumps splat stats. It was a thing. And this book was 10 out of 10 evil.
10 out of 10 splat.
I love how it got 1 out of 10 humor.
That's weird because this one is funnier than some of the others. So
that's just because I think we find it so absurd.
Yeah,
But
probably.
yeah, so I think that overall, though, if I had to go off a TV episode and book, once again, I'm going to go book, but I think the TV episode was not bad.
Right. No, I agree with that. But this TV episode was the closest I've come to, liking an episode more than a book, and probably will be the closest I ever get at this rate. So we'll see.
I mean, we might find something we end up liking more, but I don't think so.
Unless they change the general vibe of the show, I don't know if I'm. Yeah, we'll see. We're early on. We're 4 episodes in. We got so many more.
I have optimism. And speaking of 4 episodes in, next time we're going to book 5. And which book is that, Gary?
We are talking about The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, which will appropriately take place at the start of the holiday season. And this book is all about Christmas. Well, not really, but it's set at Christmas time.
Jingle, jingle, who doesn't like a curse for Christmas?
That's right. Christmas in Egypt, what all of us wanted as kids.
I mean, I did. I love mummies in Egypt. This is going to be great. I'm going to be so excited to talk about this one. All right, everybody. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to Listeners Beware, a podcast about all things Goosebumps. Are you looking for more spooky podcast content? Check out 3 Haunted Podcast, where Ashley and friends talk about all the things that give you goosebumps.
And if you want to check out some things that are still nostalgic but not quite as scary, check out the Wax Nostalgic Network, wherever podcasts are available.
Join us in 2 weeks for The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. Until then, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Gary.
Until next time.
I need a whole salt shaker for this statement, but this is shake it.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Whoa!
Ew. To be candid, what he was given to work with wasn't bad.
Right? To be kindred.
Look at you. You're on a roll. A camera roll?
Oh!
Right. We'll be here all day. Watch
puns.
us develop.
Oh, whoa!
Okay. I could do camera puns all day.
I was ready for supernatural. I wasn't ready for supernatural.
Ooh, supernatural and steroids.
Got the double soup. it's like me at a diner.
I'll take 2.